Hello, touch the leg. I hope you are doing well, keeping yourself happy and healthy. So, to continue with where we stopped yesterday, we're still talking about, try to understand about the role of karma, cause and effect. How does this karma, cause and effect really works, and what are the causes for the suffering of samsara? We have understood that there are different types of suffering in different realms in the previous chapter, and today and this time we're trying to understand what are the causes for those sufferings. And fortunately, all those sufferings that we studied in different realms are not without cause, and that's very good news. Since it has cause, we can eliminate the cause and we can free ourselves from those suffering of different realms. So that is very good news for us. And but if you do not know the cause, if you do not understand how does this cause and effect really works, then we'll be covered by this illusion or covered by this delusion and not knowing. In other words, you will be ignorant of not seeing it, the actual nature of it, and not knowing that it has a cause, and one can eliminate the cause and can be free from the suffering of samsara. No? So all the Buddhist teaching, they talk about the ignorant as the root cause for the suffering of samsara, and that's very true. And what really happens is that ignorance really covers awareness of seeing the true nature of things like impermanence nature, suffering nature, selflessness nature, and emptiness nature. So it kind of covers our awareness from seeing this reality. And because of that, we perceive all phenomena, and particularly ourselves, as something permanent, something real and unique. And as a result of that, what happens that then we slowly generate attachment towards ourselves and also the things that we loved. And then if anything comes along to obstruct that, if anything comes give rise as the contrary to that, then we give rise to aversion, anger, jealousy, and so forth. And this is where our samsara starts. So and why we are having this kind of negative afflictions and emotions is because of not knowing the true nature of things. So here we need to release this kind of attachment. We need to release this ignorant. So in order to release ignorant, we should be knowledgeable. We should know how things really work. And from this Buddhist point of view, everything works under cause and effect manner. So we need to understand what are the causes for those all different type of suffering of samsara. Because obviously we don't want to suffer. No one ever wants to suffer. Everyone wants to be happy, and that's our basic nature, our basic goal, our basic will, to be free from suffering and to have something happiness, to have some pleasurable, joyfulness, happiness. So it's our kind of motivation to have these things. So in order to have this thing, to gain this kind of permanent happiness, joyfulness, blissfulness, state of mind, we need to understand what are those causes for those. So we need to eliminate from suffering of samsara, and we need to attain those lasting peace and happiness. So how can we achieve those things? We achieve through involving in karma and karma, cause and effect. So because of that reason, we need to understand what are the causes for suffering and what are the causes for the permanent happiness. So once you know this, once you really understand those causes of suffering, then we need to eliminate those causes. We need to avoid those causes so that we do not need to suffer again in the future. And by knowing the cause for lasting happiness and nirvana, we need to implement those causes. We need to apply those causes. We need to practice those causes so that we'll be able to experience those lasting and permanent happiness. And because of that practice, then we can free ourselves from the suffering of samsara. So that is how it works. So this is what Buddha really wants us to understand this. So therefore, here also, Lord Gampopa talks about this karma cause and effect in the chapter 6. So we'll continue from yesterday, and before we do so, let us recite refuge prayers and generating bodhicitta. Sangye Jodam Sangye Jonam Lai Jangjo Bado Dane Gyab Sonche Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dolai Benjere Sangye Dobarasho Sangye Jodam Sangye Jonam Lai Jangjo Bado Dane Gyab Sonche Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dolai Benjere Sangye Dobarasho Sangye Jodam Sangye Jonam Lai Jangjo Bado Dane Gyab Sonche Dage Jinso Gebe Sonam Ge Dolai Benjere Sangye Dobarasho Zemjen Damjen Dewan Dan Dewen Yodan Demba Yojen Dongan Dan Dongan Ye Yodan Dawan Yojen Dongan Beben Dewan Damba Dan Dawan Yojen Niren Jadan Yedan Dewen Dan Yon Jembola Neba Yojen Zemjen Damjen Dewan Dan Dewen Yodan Demba Yojen Dongan Dan Dongan Ye Yodan Dawan Yojen Dongan Beben Dewan Damba Dan Dawan Yojen Niren Jadan Yedan Dewen Dan Yon Jembola Neba Yojen Zemjen Damjen Dewan Dan Dewen Yodan Demba Yojen Dongan Dan Dongan Ye Yodan Dawan Yojen Dongan Beben Dewan Damba Dan Dawan Yojen Niren Jadan Yedan Dewen Dan Yon Jembola Neba Yojen Balden Zawe Lama Rinpoche Dage Jewro Bemen Dengshola Kadin Chempe Gwanen Jeson Den Kuson Toge Ngonjo Zando. Okay, so Gampopa presents this chapter 6, karma and effect, karma cause and effect, or karma or its result, with 6 different points. The first is classifications of karma, how many types of karmas are there. Second point he mentioned here is the primary characteristics of those classifications of karma. And third point is the ascription of karma. Fourth point is the strict result of karma. And fifth point is increase from the small cause, increasing of the result from the small cause. And finally, the inevitability of karma. So these 6 points really comprise the teachings on the karma and its result. So now we understand that karma simply means action, actions of our body, actions of our speech, actions of our mind, Sorry. So it can either be virtuous act or it can either it be non-virtuous act. So in order to attain lasting happiness, we need to involve in virtuous act of body, speech, and mind. Virtuous karma of body, speech, and mind. And then in order to eliminate ourselves from the suffering of samsara, or to avoid experiencing the suffering of samsara, we need to, eliminate the non-virtuous karma or actions of body, speech, and mind. So this is how it works. If you implement or if you apply it non-virtuous act, then you have to experience the suffering of samsara. If you involve or practice the virtuous act, then you can experience the happiness of higher realm and also the nirvana slowly. So there's no other choices. So this is what we have to apply. Karma, the virtuous act and non-virtuous act. Eliminate non-virtuous act and apply virtuous act, as simple as it is and as relevant as it is, very reasonable. So it again falls on our hand. We have the choices, whether we want to eliminate the suffering or not, whether we want to attain the permanent happiness or not, is on us. Buddha has shown us the path. Buddha has said, okay, this is the karma you do. This is the virtuous karma you do. You will experience permanent happiness. These are the non-virtuous act. If you involve, then you will suffer. You will experience the suffering of samsara. So that is why it's known as the law of karma, cause and effect. So sometimes we blame karma. Actually, we should not, because karma is created by our own self, ourselves. No one else did for us. We created our karma and we have to experience the result of it. But there are also some other options of purification part. Fortunately, there are purification part where we can decrease our negative karma, by purification, by applying the very strong antidote of regret and recitations of different types of mantras, visualizations of different deities, and also not repeating that negative cause again, so that we don't need to experience that type of suffering in the future. So there, in general, there are five powers of purification. So if you have some time, you can also read those. What are those different types of powers? With whom, if you apply it, you'll be able to purify your negative karmas. So these are also there. There are options that we can eliminate our negative karma. But if you do not apply those antidotes, then obviously we have to suffer. We have to experience the suffering of samsara, because we have already created the cause in our past life or earlier part of this life. So therefore, it is done by yourself. You are the doer. That's why GAMPOPA again and again, remind us by saying that actor, you are the actor. You act. You engage in negative action and negative cause. So therefore, you are the actor, and you will experience the result. That's why he mentioned actor in many talks here. Okay, so about this, first we've completed the classifications of karma. There are three different types of classifications of karma according to GAMPOPA here. In some other texts, there are slightly different classifications of karma, but here he want to mention, focus more on the non-virtuous karma and effect, virtuous karma and effect, and then particularly the unshakable karma of meditative concentration. So he want us to know what are the cause for achieving the four different type of meditative concentrations of Rupa Dhatu, and for another different types of experience in the Arupa Dhatu. So that's why he particularly mentioned the third one, karma and result of unshakable meditative concentration. In some other case, in text, they may teach us that obviously karma of non-virtuous cause and effect, karma of virtuous cause and effect, and then karma of neutral karma, neither good nor bad, neutral karma. But here, instead of that neutral karma, GAMPOPA wants to enlighten us with the karma of unshakable meditative concentration. So therefore, that's what's mentioned here. So today, again, we'll continue try to understand more deeply, a deeper understanding of what are those non-virtuous karma and its effects or result. Generally speaking, there are 10 non-virtuous acts, which are the main general cause for the suffering of samsara, and especially the lower realm, suffering in the lower realm, lower three realms, animal realm, hungry ghost realm, and hell realm. So we try to understand what are those negative karma or non-virtuous acts. So here we understand that there are 10, 3 from body, 4 from speech, and another 3 from mind. So totally 10 non-virtuous acts. So we have studied the non-bourgeois act of body and non-bourgeois karma of speech. Now today we will study the non-bourgeois act of mind or mental karma. Okay, the three non-bourgeois act of mind. So here, what are those three non-bourgeois act of mind? The first one is covetousness. The classifications of covetousness, again, same presentation. The manner of presentations are same as before. He will talk about different types of mental karma, negative karma. Here in this case, yes, like that's why he says classifications of covetousness. And then we have the different types of result of being involved in covetousness. And then he'll particularly teach us the one particular what you call distinctive act of that. So first one, classifications of covetousness. Actually, the meaning of covetousness is some sort of desire, wanting to have someone's belongings, having attachment to someone's. Sometimes when you see some other people have better things than you, better item, better quality, better wealth, better education, then you have this desire of like saying, thinking that I should have that, kind of having a great desire to possess something that belongs to others. So this is known as covetousness. So there are three different types of covetousness: with regard to one's own, second with regard to others, and third with regard to neither. So GAMPOPA wants to make it very, in very specific here, in more detailed way. Usually when you say covetousness, you usually understand of wanting to have someone's belonging. But here he says that there are also three different types. Not only that, there are two more. The first one is with regard to yourself. That means a little bit of combinations of pride or boastful maybe, thinking, oh, I'm the best, or having desire, attachment to your position, possession, education, figure, so on and so forth. So here he says the first one, with regard to yourself, that means that attached to one's own race, clan, body, qualities, and wealth. So this is also comes under the non-bourgeois act of covetousness. So this is more or less like pride. So this is also something that need to be abandoned, because when you have this kind of attitude, thinking that I'm very important, being proud of yourself, or with your body, wealth, education, quality, and all. As long as you don't harm others, that's still okay. But what happens usually, then we try to look down on others. Oh, I am the best. There's no one like me. Then you don't listen to others. You don't respect to others. You think you know everything. You are the most smart person in the world. So you're the most knowledgeable person in the world. So this is the problem. The problem comes there, and then you try to look down on others. So that's why it's not good. It's something that should be discarded. And also here it says here, and thinking there's no one like me. And the second kind of covetousness is with regard to others, as I mentioned earlier, thinking that being attached to others' prosperity, wealth, education, quality, race, so on and so forth. So this is also not good. In this case, the second one, we relate to second type of covetousness is that then what you have do is that then you will try to steal others' belongings, because you have this desire of lacking and wanting, and kind of having desire to possess those things that are not belong to you, that belongs to someone else. Then still takes place from there. First you will have covetousness with regard to others, then your physical action will take place of stealing others' belongings. And the third type of covetousness is with regard to none. That means that simply thinking or simply having an attachment to an underground mine, or river, mountain, flowers, which do not belong to any particular being, but then you have this kind of, attachment and thinking, oh, how lovely if I own this island, so to speak. How wonderful if I own this flower or own this mountain, the natural mountain. The flowers not from people's garden, just flowers from in the mountain, so on and so forth. All those beautiful things, beautiful smile, sound, all those things that do not belong to anyone, but then you still have this kind of desire or attachment towards those things. And it's also not so good, because in order to liberate ourselves from the subject of samsara, we need to release, we need to free from attachment. As long as you are attached to something, your happiness is gone. Because what happens is, because then first you enjoy that. If you have good things to wear, you enjoy it. That's okay. That's still okay. But then what happens that you want to hold on that good thing, and you always have this desire of, oh, can I have this good feeling or good clothes all the time? And then you worry, oh, what happens if someone steals this thing? Then kind of, anxiety, worriness will all take place. And that is the moment your happiness is lost. You didn't know how to enjoy that pleasure, that pleasant moment, because you are so attached to it. So what holy or realized being, how they enjoy things? After enlightenment, after arhatship, they still enjoy things like, good food, coffee, no problem for them. But they enjoy in a very, equanimity way. They taste it, no problem, good. If something's not there, they don't worry. Their perception, their kind of emotion is in a very equal, not going under attachment or not going under aversion, neither the two sides. So they're in the middle, so they can enjoy things. For them, everything is equal. And that is why sometimes we hear the word of wisdom saying that one taste means that this kind of realized practitioner who really practice very well with meditation and knowing the true nature of things, impermanence nature, suffering of samsara, selflessness nature, emptiness nature. For them, everything is the same for them. They are not overwhelmed with any kind of emotion, any kind of sensation, any kind of feeling, texture, and so forth. So they are equal. If things are there, that's okay. If things are not there, they're still okay. Because they don't hold on things. They don't attach to things. They are free. So there's a quote from Deloba saying that, let your mind free, let us open our mind for everything and attach to nothing. So this is how we can find our happiness. If you're attached to something, you're stuck there. So this is how we try to, decrease our attachment towards things. So in order to do so, first we need to, study those things. Study what are those non-virtuous acts. Concentrate, and then try to, implement them, not to involve in this non-virtuous act. Avoiding those non-virtuous act. But first you cannot avoid them. You cannot, eliminate them, since you do not know them. So first we need to study them. We need to be knowledgeable about those things, different types of classifications and characteristics of each classifications, and how do they work, what are those type of classifications. These are very important to study. That is why studying Buddha Dharma is the foundation for meditation and realization. So without study, you can't really progress, because you don't know the basic. Okay, so that's very important. So now the result of this covetousness There are three, as I mentioned earlier, in the same presentation in the same manner like yesterday. Results of measurations of that act means that the actor will be born as hungry ghost. So if you have this non-virtuous act of covetousness, mental non-virtuous, then you will be born in a hungry ghost, as a hungry ghost, because that relates to attachment. And the second result, similar to the cause, that means that even the actor is born in a human realm, he or she will have even stronger covetousness. And finally, the general result of force, that means that he or she will be born in a place with bad harvest. So these are the different types of result of involving in the covetousness. And particular one, distinctive act of covetousness is that desiring to rob the wealth of the renounced one is very heavy negative karma. So if you have desire of robbing or stealing things of the realized master, or arhat maybe, or renounced people who renounce samsara, or try to rob, not in physical way but mentally, because we are now talking about mental non-virtuous act. So mentally, if you have this desire of robbing or stealing things of someone who stays in the retreat, or someone who has renounced the samsara practitioners, then it is very negative, heavy negative karma. And the second type of non-virtuous act of mind, or mental non-virtuous act, is the harmful thought. Sometimes it is translated as ill will. So this is again a desire to destroy someone's property, health, wealth, education, life, even life. So desire to kill someone, desire to steal someone's belongings, desire to beat someone, all these harmful thoughts, or desire to obstruct someone's business, someone's position, all those things, different kind of things. So these are again mental. They are just planning, having a good bad thought of others, harming thoughts of others, things that are taking place in their mind, how to obstruct their someone else's business, how to steal someone's belongings. All this planning, negative thoughts are known as harmful thoughts. Here again, three different types of harmful thoughts. Classifications of harmful thoughts. There are three types of harmful thoughts. First one, harmful thoughts that comes from hatred. Number two, harmful thoughts that comes from jealousy. Number three, harmful thoughts that comes from resentment. So this type of different types of harmful thoughts. And the first one, that is the harmful thought that comes from hatred, is that desire to kill others with hatred and like in battle. So if you're go in war, so you're trying to, obviously in a war you fight with your enemy, and you want to, you have this will and to kill the enemy. So that comes with the hatred. And second one means the desire to kill or steal or whatever, non-virtuous act, mental act. That's why it says desire, not just a desire, not physical actions there yet. So desire to kill and so on and so forth, as with a fear or jealous or or in a competitor way, competing with others. If someone else has better belonging, better cup than you, then you have this desire to steal that cup from them, from him or her. Likewise, if someone has a better education, a better wealth, then you have this desire wanting to steal the wealth of others. So these are also known as the second type of harmful thought, which is related to jealousy. And the third type of harmful thought, and that is the desire to kill and so forth, while holding past harm in the mind. So because someone has done something bad to you, so you have this resentment, and then you want to take retaliation. Therefore you have this planning in your mind or desire to kill or steal or whatever non-virtuous thought that will take place in your mind would relate to the resentment. So these are the 3 different types of harmful thoughts. There may be many different types, but GAMPOPA said briefly 10 non-virtuous. So these are the mental 3 mental non-virtuous thoughts, non-virtuous thought. And the result of it, there are also again 3 different types of result which related to the 3 types of cause of harmful thought. The first one, that is the result of maturations of the act, that is the action that already you did, the action, the cause is already implemented, cause is there already, and because of the plantations of that cause, obviously you will experience the result of it. So it will mature, it will ripen. So the result of that would be then you will be born in the hell realm, because it involves hatred, anger, aversion, aggression. And second type of result is result similar to the cause. That means whatever the cause you did, the result also are very similar to the act. Like yesterday, if you kill or take someone's life, as a result of that, you will have a shorter life, or you will experience many different type of sickness in your life. So likewise here, similar act or similar result similar to the cause means that even if the actor is born in a human realm, he or she will experience even stronger hatred. So when hatred takes place, it's not pleasant at all. It is taking away your peace of mind. That's for sure. We can experience that in our day-to-day life, right? Isn't it? When you are, when you have some kind of hatred in something is disturbing within you, you don't want to eat properly, even it disturbs your sleep, even though you're sleeping in a very nice bed, comfortable bed, but you can't sleep because there's something that's disturbing us. So likewise, if you are involved in this act of non-virtuous act of harmful thoughts, then as a result of that, you will, even though if you are born in a human realm, you will not be able to have a peaceful mind. You're always disturbed with hatred. Even more stronger hatred will take place within yourself. Some people, if you see in our daily life, we can meet different types of people. Some are quite gentle people, calm. Some are quite naughty or bad behavior. Some are quite aggressive, always getting angry in very small things. They always get upset with very, very tiny small things, which sometimes people think, oh, that's not so big deal. Other things that are not so big deal, but for him or her, it's very, it's disturbing him or her all the time. So this kind of things, as GAMPOPA mentions here, result similar to the cause means that if the actor is born as a human realm, he or she will experience even stronger hatred. And the third type of result here, general results of the force, means that the actor will be born in a place where the foods are bitter and cobs. So not foods are not so pleasant, not delicious. So you will experience all these different types of difficulties as a result of involving in the non-virtuous mental act of harmful thoughts. And now the last one, the last one of the 3 mental non-virtuous act, that is the wrong view, holding the wrong view. And holding the wrong view, generally speaking, is not what you call, you don't really feel this is something serious, but particularly with regard to eliminating your ignorance and trying to achieve wisdom, this is the big disturbance, this is the big obscurations, because then there's no way that you can progress And here, wrong view, for example, if you believe, if you have a wrong view, if you believe that killing others, stealing others' belongings will make you happy or will bring you happiness in the future, then there's no way one can, progress if you have that kind of strong belief, because that's already mistaken belief. Then there's no way to progress, and it will bring you towards the suffering of samsara even more stronger. So therefore, this kind of belief, even though it looks very not so serious, but if you really, truly strongly believe this in wrong belief, then it is very unfortunate for us to, come out from that belief and always follow on this wrong direction. So for example, if someone wants to go to Kathmandu, for example, and that particular individual thinks that the way, the road that leads to Pokhara is the road to Kathmandu, if he or she has that very strong belief, then it's very unfortunate. He or she will not listen to anyone because of their strong wrong belief, the wrong direction, and they think that's the right direction, and then they keep going, and they keep going, and they will end up reaching Pokhara instead of Kathmandu. So this kind of thing, wrong belief, it's very, actually it's not very, very hard. It obstructs our destination, to reach our destination. So therefore we need to dispel this wrong view, holding wrong view, and try to enlighten us with the right view, discriminating knowledge. It's very, very important. So therefore we try to understand this wrong view. Again, classifications of wrong views. There are 3 types of wrong views: wrong view of cause and result, wrong view of the truths, Four Noble Truths, and wrong view of the 3 jewels. So the first one means not believing that suffering and happiness are caused by non-virtues and virtues respectively. So if you don't believe that suffering are caused by non-virtuous act and happiness are caused by virtuous act, if you don't believe that, and if you act on the opposite way, then you will end up, even though if you want to find happiness, if you don't believe that the path to happiness is involving in virtuous act, if you don't believe, and if you have misbelieved that by involving in non-virtuous act you will reach to happiness, destination of happiness, then that's very unfortunate. That's kind of what do you call, it goes against the relevant, it goes against the truth, and that's very unfortunate, and we need to clear that out. We need to be enlightened with the real cause for happiness and real cause for suffering. So if someone believes that the involving in non-virtuous act will lead to happiness, then there's no way. And if someone believes that involving in virtuous act will reach to suffering, that's also not true. So therefore we should have the right view, right understanding. Sometimes what happens, even though our intention is to help someone, but our act is different. So we don't know, because of ignorance or because of holding wrong view, we do not involve in right cause in order to experience that result. The second type of the wrong view is relate to the noble truth, and that is to say that not believing that one attains the truth of cessation of suffering, even the truth of path is practiced. So in four noble truths, truth of suffering, truth of cause of suffering, these are cause and effect manner, and another remaining two, truth of cessation of suffering, which means free from suffering, and truth of the path. So cessation of suffering means freedom. So freedom from suffering, happiness. So in order to achieve this cessation of suffering, we need to practice the path, the truth of path that lead us to this cessation of suffering, that leads us to the experiencing of the permanent happiness. So if someone do not believe that, you not believing that, oh, you will reach enlightenment, even, not believing that you will reach enlightenment even though you practice the truth of path, then there is no hope. So we need to clear that this wrong view, wrong understanding, and we need to be aware of the right view. We need to be knowledgeable of the right view. We need to study. And how can we eliminate this wrong view is through listening the teaching, contemplating the teaching, and practicing the teaching. And through this we can achieve different type of wisdom of hearing, wisdom from contemplating, wisdom from actual meditation. So likewise here, the results of wrong view is also same in the same manner. The results of maturation of the act means that the actor will be born in an animal realm because of not knowing the truth or being stupid or ignorant. Results similar to the cause means that even if the actor is born in a human realm, he or she will even have deeper ignorance. So sometimes we can see people, how much we study, how much we give them opportunity to study, how much best tutor we provide them. Some people can't understand, cannot learn, cannot study, with lots of thick ignorance in their mind. So for those individuals, this is because of having wrong view in the past lifetime. So for those individuals in our Parjana tradition, we tell them, even the monks and nuns in our monastery and nunnery, if some neither nuns, when they first study, some are very sharp, can catch things very fast, very good memory in memorizing the tags and all, but some are very late, and some really takes lots of effort. Some forgets things very fast, very quickly. Some cannot learn at all. So for those, our tradition is to teach them how to supplicate to Manjushri, because Manjushri represents the wisdom body of Buddha. So therefore, we ask them to, recite Om Arapachanadi, the mantra of heart mantra of Manjushri, in order to, dispel their ignorance and attain wisdom or achieve wisdom when they study. So there's a tradition in every monastery, every schools of this Tibetan Buddhist community. They always supplicate to Manjushri every time before they study. In school, in monastery, in nunnery, everywhere. And it's really helps a lot. I did the same thing. And the third type of result, that is the general result of force, means that the actor will be reborn in a place with no crops. So these are the different explanations of different results here. And one last thing, the particular distinctive act of wrong view is that holding wrong view, but holding wrong view very, very seriously, having kind of reason for that, then it is very, very hard, even harder for these individuals to bring them to the right track, right path, because they have this 100 or maybe 1000% believe in that wrong view, thinking them as a right view for them. Obviously, right and wrong always depends on each, individual. They are interdependence nature, sure, but sometimes we have to accept that milk is white in color. There's no any other way around. Milk is white, the color of milk is white. So this kind of, sometimes the right path is right path. And unfortunately, some people do not know this, and then they have strong belief in opposite way. And so here again, for those individuals who are holding wrong view with very kind of reasonable way, rationally, observerly, and literally, and for those it's very hard to bring them to the enlightenment state of mind, bring them to practice the path of liberation, about to the path. So these are very heavy. Okay, so this completes the presentations on the non-virtuous karma and its result. The next, there's additional instructions by GAMPOPA. All of the above measuration results are given in general term. So measurations of result from the cause, of the cause. And another presentation will be, there are also 3 specific classifications. GAMPOPA says 3 specific classifications of the result by the type of afflicting emotions. So the cause, if the cause afflicting emotion, what kind of afflicting emotion is involved while you involve in non-virtuous act. For example, taking life of others. While you take life of others, what kind of negative afflictions or emotions are involved? If the desire is involved, different result. If the hatred is involved, different result. If the ignorance involved, different result. Likewise, by the frequency, how many times, how strong you involve in taking life of others. Strongly, lightly, or moderately. It will have different result as well. And the third is by the object. If you are taking life of others, it also depends the object of that. Whose life are you taking? High realized arhats, ordinary individual, there are different types of related with the object as well. So here the next additional instructions or presentations on result is that first, if your act of involving in negative karma or action is with hatred, then one will be born in hell realm. If one acts with desire, one will be born as a hungry ghost. And if one acts with ignorance, whatever act, stealing, telling lie, then one will be born in animal realm. The precious jewel garden says, by attachment, one will become a hungry ghost. By hatred, one will be thrown into the hell realm. And by ignorance, one will be born an animal, born as an animal. So these are with regard to type of afflicting emotions. The next is the frequency, relating with frequency, and involving in negative act, relating with frequency. When one creates countless non-virtuous actions, killing, stealing, and so forth, one will be born in hell realms, because there is a countless continuity. If one one will be born as a hungry ghost by committing many non-virtuous acts. Frequency, first frequency was countless non-virtuous acts. Now the second one is many non-virtuous acts, not countless. You can count. That's why it says many non-virtuous actions. One will be born as a hungry ghost, and one will be born as an animal by committing some non-virtuous actions. So the frequency is there. Involving some non-virtuous act, or many non-virtuous act, or countless non-virtuous act will have different result respectively. And the last one is related with an object. Relating to object, one will be born in the hell realm if one acts non-virtuously towards beings of higher status, arhat, bodhisattvas, and so forth. One will be born as a hungry ghost if he involves through mediated beings, or involves non-virtuous act to mediated beings. And one will be born as the hungry ghost. Sorry, that's the second one. And the third one, one, if towards ordinary beings, then one will be born as an animal. So these are related with an object: higher object, middle object, and normal object. So if you take belonging of the higher being, higher status of arhata and bodhisattvas, you will be born in hell realm. If you steal things from the middle class of people, here middle class which relate to practice, middle class of practitioners, then you'll be born as a hungry ghost. And if you simply steal things of individual, normal individual practitioners, then you'll be born as an animal. So this is the explanations of the cause and results of the non-virtuous act. There's a quote from the Precious Jewel Garden which says, desire, aversion, ignorance, all the karma created thereby are non-virtuous. So non-virtuous, which relate to three different type of negative afflictions or negative afflicting emotions. All sufferings comes from non-virtuous. So do the lower realms. So all the suffering comes from non-virtuous. Non-virtuous done through ignorance, desire, or aversion. So that completes the presentations of non-virtuous karma. Non-virtuous karma and its result. What are the non-virtuous karma and what are the result of this non-virtuous act? So we are now clear, we understood. These are different types of non-virtuous and what are the effects of those non-virtuous acts if you implement with these different types of non-virtuous of body, speech, and mind, and what are the results you will have to experience as a suffering. So this understanding of the karma, cause and effect, it really helps us. Then we can be careful, we can be careful with our act, our thought, what thoughts takes place in your mind. You can be very careful, you can be mindful, you can be aware of what you're thinking. And if the negative thoughts occurs in your mind, then you can, you need to aware of that, and then second, you need to pause there and do not act according to that thought. Do not express that thought in a physical form, through verbal speech and through physical activity. So because now you know that, oh, these are not pleasurable, this will bring unpleasant, this will bring suffering results. So whenever in our daily life, whenever things, non-virtuous thoughts arises in our mind, we can purify them without expressing them through verbal and physical action. Then you're being safe, you're trying to cut down the non-virtuous act. And also when you speak to someone, you have to be mindful what kind of language you are using. Are you using harsh words? Are you using divisive words? Is your word, that speech, the words that comes from your mouth, is this good or bad? What kind of effect will it take place? Will this hurt others, harm others, or will this make them happy or pleasant? So you can always be mindful of your act of speech. Likewise, your physical action in your day-to-day life, whenever your physical actions are involved, try to be mindful. Am I stepping some insects when I walked? Am I hitting someone? Am I stealing someone's belonging? Am I being involved in sexual misconduct? All these things, you can be very mindful of your act, because now you know this karma and effect. You know that if you involve in this non-virtuous act of body, speech, and mind, you will have to experience different types of suffering in the different realms of samsara. So with that awareness, with that understanding, with that knowledge, you can abandon those involvement of those different negative causes, negative action. You can protect yourself from involving, from falling, from involving in the cause and from falling to the different realms to experience different type of suffering. So it's on our hand whether we want to fall on different types of suffering of samsara, whether we want to fall down on the lower realms and experience different suffering of the lower realms or not. Is on us, is up to us. So we can protect ourselves. We can protect ourselves from different type of actions through our body, speech, and mind. All non-virtuous acts that were usually taking place before spontaneously, but now by knowing karma and its effect or result, we can be very careful. We can be very mindful of ourselves, of our act, the speech, the words that we use, the physical act that we involve, the different type of thoughts that are taking place in our mind. Are these thoughts virtuous or non-virtuous? You can differentiate those now. And it is always advisable that we should do this every now and then. And this is how we can minimize involvement of the non-virtuous act. And this is how we can decrease our involvement of negative karma. And by this, we can reduce ourselves from falling into samtrikam samsara. By this, we can stop falling in the samtrikam samsara. We don't need to fall on this, to be born in these different realms of lower realms of samsara. So once you are not born or not fall down on these lower realms, then you don't need to suffer. If you are not born in hell realm, you don't need to suffer hot and cold hell experiences. If you're not being born in a hungry ghost realm, you do not need to suffer of hunger and thirst anymore. So this is how we really can practice ourselves. Not only by supplications or making aspirations, but by really putting them into our daily life, really, thinking about it, really contemplating on these things, and really putting them into action. And this is what it helps us. And this is how we can slowly purify ourselves. This is how we can, eliminate of the involvement of the non-virtuous act. And this is where we can cut the tie to the non-virtuous act. We can be our own supervisor. We can be our own inspector. We can be our own protector. So if we are able to do so, this will be wonderful. You don't need to suffer again. And from tomorrow, we'll try to understand the opposite of the non-virtuous act. That is the virtuous act and its result. Virtuous act of body, virtuous act of speech, and virtuous act of mind. So whether you want to use virtuous or not, it doesn't matter. You can just say good act of body, good act of speech, good act of mind. And by involving good act of body, speech, and mind, what are the results that one will experience? Obviously, good results. Good cause, good result. Bad cause, bad result. That's the law of karma, cause, and effect. So having said that, we'll stop here for today. And thank you very much for listening. And we shall dedicate the merits for the benefit of all sentient beings. So nam de damje zigba nyen tomne nyebe danam pamje ne gega na che bala chobai sebe chole drowa ra sho.
Considering, now we start reciting the mantras. Firstly, we take refuge and generate the bodhicitta. For that, you need to visualize that your guru is in front of you with the sky, surrounded by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or the lineage gurus. In front of them, they will take a refuge and generate bodhicitta. This is taking a refuge and generating bodhicitta. Now it is meditation on the bodhicitta. Now we meditate on giving and taking meditations. This meditation helps us to develop our loving kindness and compassion. Then you visualize that this all the mother sentient beings are in front of you. You imagine they are all in pain and suffering. To give your love and compassion to them. Therefore, now this meditation, Tonglen meditation. Tong means you give, and Len means taking. That give means we give our virtues, our merits, our happiness, and a cause of happiness, love and compassion. We give to them. Then we take their pain and sufferings, the cause of sufferings, the cause of the sufferings are their ignorance, attachments, hatred, or anger. Those are the cause of the suffering. Now, this meditation, apply with your breathing. You breathe out as give, and breathe in as taking. Now you breathe in. This breathing, you no need to make it long and short. Breathe no more. When you breathe in, then you visualize that all the mother sentient beings, their sufferings, their pains, and the cause of the sufferings, like three poisons, all come out from their body, form of black smoke. When you breathe in, then together their black smoke breathe in. Then go into your body, that at your heart level, there is fire, small fire. Then fire will burn off all the black smoke, all their negatives, or burn off, then just vanish of the negatives. Then imagine they are free from the pain, free from the suffering, and free from the cause of the suffering, that they are free from the ignorance, free from the attachment, free from the anger, jealousy. Then when you breathe out, the time you visualize that from your body, that your merits, your happiness, and love and compassion all come out with your breathing as form of a white color smoke. Then they all dissolve to them. Imagine they all receive the happiness and the cause of happiness. Imagine they are always in happiness and cause of unhappiness. Now we recite the Avalokiteshvara mantra. Therefore, you visualize that your place is transformed into the pure land of Avalokiteshvara, that yourself is transformed into the forearm Avalokiteshvara, then your speech transformed into the speech of mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. The mantra Om Mani Padme Hum is the essence of all the Dharma. Then your mind transformed. This is not ordinary mind thoughts. It is thoughts of the whatever your thoughts is wisdom of the Buddha. Then with this visualization, then devotion, faith to the Avalokiteshvara, love and compassion to all the mother sentient beings. Your mind concentrate on this visualization and recite mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Recite mantra 108 times. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Now we recite the long life dharani. Therefore, you visualize that Buddha Amitayu is above your head. That Buddha Amitayu is Sambhogakaya form of Buddha Amitabha. Then from your heart, radiate light. This light dissolve into the Amitayu's heart that requests Amitayu to give us the blessing for longevities, to increase our long life and energy. That through his compassion, the radiate light from his body go to 10 directions. Then this light will collect all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, body, speech, mind blessings. And all the blessings are come out form of light and dissolve into the, as he's holding the long light vase, go into the long light vase. Again, this light will collect the energy of the universe and the essence of all the elements, all the positive energies, all and come and dissolve into the vase. Then those energies are transformed into the nectar. The nectar flow from the vase, long light vase, then come on your crown and go into your body and purify all the obstacles for the longevities. Then fill up your body to imagine that you are received the blessings of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and the energy of the universe, and the essence of the elements that increase your energy and prolong your life. With this visualization, they will recite the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurveda Sudhine Chitate Jarajaya Tadaigataya Arahate Samya Sambodhaya Teyata Om Sambhodaya Te Yata Om Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jnana Sambharo Bhajite Om Sarava Sankara Parishuddha Dharamate Gangana Samungate Sobhavati Shuddhi Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Yojana Subhine Zeta Te Zoradaya Tathagata Arahate Samya Sambhodaya Te Yata Om Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jnana Sambharo Bhajite Om Sarava Sankara Parishuddhi Dharamate Gangana Samunga Sobhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayurjana Subhine Zeta Tejorajaya Tathagata Arahate Samya Sambhodaya Te Yata Om Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jnana Sambharo Bhajite Om Sarava Sankara Parishuddhi Dharamate Ganga Samungate Sobhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayojana Subhine Zeta Te Zoradaya Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambhodaya Te Yata Om Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jnana Sambharo Bhajite Om Sarava Sankara Parishuddhi Dharamate Gagana Samungate Sobhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivare Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Aparimita Ayojana Subhine Zeta Te Zoradaya Tathagataya Arahate Samya Sambhodaya Te Yata Om Pune Pune Mahapune Aparimita Pune Aparimita Pune Jnana Sambharo Bhajite Om Sarava Sankara Parishuddhi Dharamate Gagana Samungate Sobhava Vishuddhi Mahanaya Parivare Soha. After that, we recite Medicine Buddha's long dharani and the short mantra 7 times. Therefore, you visualize that from your heart radiate light. This light go to the east direction, go to the medicine Buddha's pure light. Then this light dissolve into medicine Buddha's heart, then request medicine Buddha to give us blessings. Then medicine Buddha remember that he make 12 great aspiration. He remember that, then from his love and compassion to the other mother sentient beings, then nectar flow from his baking bowl. This nectar go into your crown, into your body, and all the sentient beings of body. They purify all the sickness and the cause of the sickness or the defilements are purified. Then fill up the body with nectar. They imagine they receive all the blessings. They are all free from the physically and mentally sickness. Om Namo Bhagavate Bhikkhave Guru Bendraya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Samangate Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Bhikkhave Guru Bendraya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Samangate Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Bhikkhave Guru Bendraya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Samangate Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Bhikkhave Guru Bendraya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Samangate Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Bhikkhave Guru Bendraya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Samangate Soha Om Namo Bhagavate Bhikkhave Guru Bendraya Prabharajaya Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Samangate Soha Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Tathāgataya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhikkhave Bhikkhave Mahabhikkhave Raja Samangate Soha Now visualize that Padmashawari deity in front of you. The nectar flow from his body. The nectar go into your body and purify all the obscurations, all the sickness, all the negative energies are all purified. Om Pishati Parana Shavari Sarva Zora Prashamani Sova Om Pishati Parana Shavari Sarva Zora Prashamani Sova Om Pishati Parana Shavari Saravadora Prashamani Sova Om Pishati Pranashavari Saravadora Prashamani Sova Om Pishati Pranashavari Saravadora Prashamani Sova Om Pishati Pranashavari Sarvasola Prashamani Sova Om Pishati Pranashavari Sarvasola Prashamani Sova Om Pishati Pranashavari Sarvasola Prashamani Soha. Now you visualize that Dorje Nanjung deity in front of you in the sky. The nectar flow from his body, then go into your body and purify all your obscurations, all the sickness, and all the negative energies. Then imagine that you are free from the sickness and free from the obscuration, free from the negative energy. Nama Chandra Benza Kroda Holo Holo Tita Tita Benda Benda Hana Hana Amite Humbe Nama Chandra Benza Kroda Holo Holo Tita Tita Benda you visualize that through magic in front of you, the nectar flow from his body. This nectar go into your crown and body. They purify all your sickness, obscurations, or the negative energies. All purify. Do you imagine that you are free from the obscuration, free from the sickness, free from the negative energies? Om Guru Kum Now you visualize that in front of you there's 8 medicine Buddha and surrounded by 16 bodhisattvas and the countless of medicine deities. Then we request with your devotion and faith that request them give us a blessing and purifications. Recite mantra 108 times. Raja Samangade So Simje ne ba jinye ba nyodo ne le tarju jewe ne mal ba ta do juma me pra re ju. Now this Tangdong Gebu's aspiration prayers. That when you're doing the prayers, that you must think of the meaning of the prayers. Sem je ye men de ve na nge je de gan so jo wa ma ju je tra she me ti be se ja ji ki ji ji la li se men de ji be so zhuan ne ge du ai ji ni ba ji de gan so zhuan wa ra ma ji ru ji qie da xin ji kai nan zi yue bai da ne ge mian zama de be zha ji be nian jie bai da dai be rin so ge le ji ge la ne ba ma ju ji ne be ge re ton zha ji ju da le bra ye zhu son jia ju da xi jia za xi ne lai su ba yin li ji ge lai zi wa ra ma ju ji li zhen de wa ma li zhu ji bei zhong xi zhu bei du ai ji ni ba ma le xi jin dan du de ba da ci ren ne men de je de ba ju la ma con jo so ma ge tu je da kan do je jo so me ne tu lian de lo wa me be de do ji ma la man da zhe zhu pa ra ju. Again, repeat page 4. Le da la pra ge le zhong wa yi den da ne da zhong bo se wa so Semje ye me devene nage jide ganso jun warar ma juruji jitra she me tebe se jai ki je la le semen ji so ne ge do ngai je ni ba ji de gan so jo wa ma ju ji chi da xin ji hai na ji ba da ni ge mi za man te be da ji bi ni ji ba da da be ri so ge li ji ge la ne ba ma ju ji ne be ge re don ta je ju da lo bro ye do su mo ja ju da xi jia za xi ne la so ba yi li jie ge la ce wa ma ju ji li sen de wa ma li to ji bi jun xie zhe bei duo ngai ji ni ba ma li xie xie dan de ba dan ce ren me de ji de ba ri ju la mai con cho sum ye to ji dang kan do chi jo so me ne to da len de lo wa me be de to ji wo wa mo la man ta sin do pararai ju. Again, repeat page 4. Le dan lo boro ke le jong wa yi den dan le jong bo se wa so sem je ye me de ve na ge ji de kan so ju wa ra ma ju ji ji da she me te be se ja ji ki ji la li se ma de ji bi so ne ge do ngai ji ni ba ji de kan so ju wa ra ma ju ji chi da xin ji hai na nhìn chế ba ta tai bê rin so ke li chế kyun la ne pra ri ma juru ji ne be ge re ton ta je ju da lo bra ye do son ja do ju da xi ja za ji ne la so ba ye li ji ge la ce wa ra ma ju ji listen de wa ma le to ji be jun shi to be du nga ji ni ba ma le shi shi dan to ba de ba dan Lama konjo sumai ge tu jidan hando je jon so me ni tu da lande lo wa me be de du ji ngo wa ma la ma ta ji du ho para ra shu Emma ho san je na wa da ye so jo tu ji chin bo da yan do san ba tu ji do na la san je jan se pa me pro ji go te je ma tra pa do me pa yin de wa ji ji jo vi xin gan de da ne de se bo jo ma da ge wa xin ji ba ma je ba de ro ge ne na de che do soi di ge da ge me la da ba pi so jo sang jin jong se me tam ji 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 me do pra jin ge la bo so te ya dai ben za te ya a wa bo da na ye so hai du de ja wa se je gong so nie de la je ra da ge de sa ge sa ba kun ju sun la je ba cha ve ten ba pe ju ro ji ge wa sen je de la do ge san je tho jo je ge sa tam je je ta sen je la min ju ro ji ti ni da ne so so te se re ne me nyam to pe se de sa jo na jo nam she se pe ju ro ma da de wa jen do ji ju ro ji ji ne pe me kha je a de la san ji cho chang cho wa tho ne ji se do tu be do wa de bra sho. Now do the dedication. Dedicate by this merit all the sentient beings obtain enlightenment, free from the suffering and free from the samsara. Oh, yes, I know. tham kiến sẽ bài ni tham ne ye be trai nam bài ni kể cả na chi bài la bài cho bài si bê cho lê cho wa cho Thank you.